that house is going to grow in value over time.
The appreciation's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And granted, like, it may not be happening right now because, like, everyone's concerned if I buy a house today, it may go down in value in month 2. But I always like to ask the question, are you planning to sell your house 2 months after you buy it?
Correct.
Because if you are, then it doesn't make sense to buy a house. What's up, guys? Mike Holt here. That's just a short little snippet of the market talk with Dan Ray of Fairway Mortgage. We talked what the market is looking like currently, what interest rates look like, what are the best ways to identify a good realtor and a good lender. So that's some really good information for you. But with that, we'll just jump right into it. What's up, guys? Mike Holt here. I am with Dan Ray of Fairway Mortgage. We're doing another market talk here, kind of get that information over to you guys. But what's your kind of thought process on what you're seeing with the market right now?
So I am seeing realtors finally able to negotiate,
Yep.
which I know is a fun thing for
Yes.
you and for a lot of my realtor partners. And the fun of it is exciting for me. It's awesome to see you guys trying to figure out if it's really smart for someone to rent right now or to buy. And so many of those people from the last couple of years weren't able to get into a home because of the multiple offers.
Yep.
Looks like sellers are becoming a little bit more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would love to know from you because you are one of those realtors that know the details. You're always on top of the analytics and the numbers. So every time I see you, I like to ask, like, where is inventory now? What are the trends going on? I think it'd be awesome for you to share with everyone, like, where's inventory? Is it coming up? Is it going down? What are you seeing out there right now in general?
Kind of the big things we're seeing right now is like inventory over the last quarter has gone up. We're currently at 21,000 homes roughly available to sell. Last month we're at 20,000, so it's only like a difference of 500.
Okay.
But if we look 3 months ago, we were at 17,000. So
Okay.
more inventory is hitting the market. One of the reasons for that is more buyers are being concerned about where interest rates are. You know best where we currently at with market rate.
Yeah, around 7%.
7%. And like, what do you remember what it was 3 months ago?
Well, 3 months ago it was probably high fives.
Wow. So
Mid to
huge
high
jump.
fives. It's a big jump. The
Yeah.
10-year Treasury is now over. Well, it's around 4% today as we sit here. We got up to 4.3 at one point last week. So, interest rates are the highest they've been, since 2010 or so.
Yeah, so like we're seeing like more homes are slowly kind of adding onto the market, but with that we're also seeing just overall sales drop because like right now we're at 6,000 sales per month.
Okay.
A month ago we were at 6,200, so slightly more, and then about 3 months ago we were at 9,000 sales per month.
Okay.
So like I said, just overall buyer demand is down. But I think it gives a really good opportunity for people that can qualify to buy a home, more opportunity to go out, find the perfect one for them, and not have to compete with 15 different offers.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I love to talk with realtor friends about situations that we're dealing with today. Like right now, like things come up, we're in it, we know what's going on. I mean, we have a buyer that you referred to us, and she's out there looking, and there's not a million offers. It doesn't seem like it. A year ago, if you were to tell me, "Hey Dan, I'm going to try to get this buyer a $5,000 or a $10,000 concession," I would probably go, "Good luck, my man."
Yeah.
Right? Like slim chance. But now, a little bit different, right?
Yep.
I mean, so can you tell us, because we're seeing about 3 or 4 out of every 10 contracts that are coming in my world, and I do loans, in all of Arizona and California. 3 to 4 out of every 10 contracts are having seller concessions. What does that mean to a potential buyer right now?
That is huge, especially for first-time home buyers where they're just focusing on saving up for the down payment. But a lot of things that people miss are the closing costs aspect of it. And with seller concessions, like we did in our earlier video, so go check that out.
Yeah.
Seller concessions can be used for practically anything,
Yep.
minus the down payment. So
Yep.
closing costs, these 2-1 buy downs is a big one. So buy down your interest rate for first 2 years. We'll have another video on that, so check that out. But yeah, like it's less cash to bring to closing,
Yep.
and it frees up the opportunity for more people to actually buy their home.
Yeah, and I think it just feels good for me, and I think it does for you too, and a lot of realtors that I work with feel the same way. When rents are rising, and you have someone, a potential buyer initially, that comes to me and says, my rent's about to go up again, I want to see if it makes sense to buy. I mean, we're not hard selling people to buy if they shouldn't buy. In fact, there are times when my team and I have told people you should rent right now, if it makes sense for them. But right now, we feel like it's a great time for somebody to buy if their payment's going to be anywhere close to what they're having to pay in rent. And then, again, what we were just talking about is the tax benefits and, other benefits of home ownership. A lot of times, guys, the tax benefits put you in a 1-to-1 ratio or equal benefit to renting. But the problem is that I don't know anyone in the real estate game that is going to say, oh yeah, you should rent, forever for the rest of your life. It's just, our world and most of our goals and dreams and aspirations are not built around us renting for our entire lives. So I feel like, it does 9 out of 10 times right now, it's making sense for people that are paying a big amount of rent to try to buy, even if that payment's a little bit higher to own. And I mean, is your feeling the same, or you have anything to share on that?
I'm a big proponent. Like, even before I got into real estate, I knew owning a home is one of the best investments that you can have in your life, in your net worth, for you and your family. Because we were talking through the numbers, renting versus buying, and for like a 2,000 square foot house in Chandler or Gilbert, price per square foot's like $1.30. So that would work out to like $2,600 roughly in rent. So right now, on average, like if you're buying a house, or roughly for what that would cost, your mortgage payment may be slightly higher, but like I said, you can write off interest that you're paying, and then you're building back equity, you're paying yourself back, and then that house is going to grow in value over time.
The appreciation's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And granted, like, it may not be happening right now, because like everyone's concerned if I buy a house today, it may go down in value in month 2. But I always like to ask the question, are you planning to sell your house 2 months after you buy it?
Correct.
Because if you are, then it doesn't make sense to buy a house. But if you're planning to be somewhere for 2 years, 3 years, the longer you're there, the more benefit you're going to get out of it, because you're building more equity, making something your own, and you're not having to deal with random landlords saying, you can't put up a hole in this wall or can't install this thing. It's all yours. You get to make the decisions.
Correct. I think there's so many advantages to home ownership, and I mean, that's part of the reason I got into doing what I'm doing, is to help people accomplish their dreams of home ownership. I know you love doing what's right for people, and you're always advising people. If there's any way you can possibly buy, you should probably buy. And yeah, it stretches people sometimes at the beginning. There's, I'm not going to say that there's not some unexpected cost that could come up, right? But, you and I just spoke about this, and I mean, your first year of owning a home, you could potentially, if you're not getting a refund and you're kind of breaking even year over year as a renter, and then you own a home, I mean, you could be looking at a $5,000 to $10,000 refund, on your tax returns, which, now you're going, why didn't I do this sooner? Right? So, and I don't see rents going down, right? I mean, it doesn't seem like rents are going down. Every year we're sitting here 15, 20% increases.
No, like the biggest thing is like the more homes that come on the market are being bought by people, whether it's by a hedge fund company somewhere to rent it out, or if it's going to actually be bought by actual people that are going to live there. So
Yeah.
that rent, as long as people are still moving into the area, and Phoenix is still a hotbed for incoming movers, but as long as people are still moving in, there's going to be a limited supply of places to rent, places to live,
Yeah.
and that's going to translate to prices for rent not dropping.
Yeah.
And even if they do, it's going to be very slight or very minimal. But over the course of the long term, rents are always going to go up.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go up with inflation. They go up when there's more demand than there is supply, and that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think some of the economic factors that you and I spoke about, like GDP, you mentioned. I mean, it's an interesting time. I think a fun thing about real estate for me is that nothing's ever the same. Like people talk about cycles, but this is in no way, shape, or form how it was in 2008. I mean, in 2008, people were doing loans with zero down. They were doing option arms. They were, I mean, it was, a completely different
No
world.
check of income,
No income,
anything.
and stated income loans and, stated asset loans. Now people have equity in their homes, and I think it's just a different environment. The GDP is not in a horrible way right now. The unemployment numbers are still good. The feds are trying to curb inflation. When inflation gets curbed, rates typically go down. So, the feds, again, have done everything they said they were going to do, whether we like it or not. They say we're raising, 75 basis points, and they do it. We have two Fed talks coming up here, one in November in a week or so, and we have another one the second week of December. The last time there were two Fed meetings in a row, month to month, the rates came down. So we're hoping that happens again. But in the meantime, this 2-1 buy down is an amazing tool that gives buyers 2 years to kind of hedge the market and get a rate that's their first year 2% lower than the market rate, which would be in the low fives right now, which is a great rate on a mortgage. And then the year after that, it'd go to 1% lower than market, 6.25. So things like this, I think, are really what we've been pushing in my world with my team and realtor partners that are out there, and it's just part of the daily negotiations now. The 2-1 buy down. We actually physically called the last couple of weeks all of our partners one by one, my team and I, to make sure that we had examples on certain loan amounts, to make sure that they knew what the program was. Because when those buyers are saying the payment's just going to be too high, hit them with that 2-1 temporary buy down, and it's not a hard sell at all. It's a very real situation. It makes it affordable for them, and to me, I feel like if rates come back down 2% or more, unfortunately we're going to see the market start picking up really quick, and then these people that are buying now may not have that chance then.
Yep. Yeah. My view of it is, as soon as interest rates start to fall back down or look like they're about to, like, all those people that are potentially waiting on the sidelines right now are going to jump right back in, scoop up the cheaper loans, and it's going to drive demand right back to where it was. So we're going to see recovery in prices, or if they'll, at minimum, they'll flatline. And then you'll start to see multiple offers on every house again. Because like I said, everyone wants to buy a house. But right now, there's so little competition that you can go in and find something and only be competing against one other offer potentially.
Yeah, which is incredible. Which is incredible. So, I mean, the question is, and like, it's a mystery, right? So we had thousands of buyers in the Phoenix metro area just in April, 6 months ago, right? There were thousands of buyers out there and there were not nearly enough homes. Like, people were getting offers of $100,000 over their asking price, waiving appraisals, waiving inspections. I mean, I had never seen that in my career. It was blowing me away. And then all of a sudden, May and June come, and it's like, boom, the buyers all are like hiding,
Yeah.
like they went away. But to me, they're still here. They're still living here. It's just they're waiting to see what's going to happen with either interest rates, the economy, the election, maybe.
Anything, but
Anything.
there's some people that they're gonna always kind of find an excuse to wait and like, oh, we're just gonna time the market, we're gonna wait, and it comes 5 years later, 10 years later, they're still renting somewhere.
Yeah.
So like, yes, in the short term, homes won't always appreciate, but over the long term, if you look historically, everyone needs a place to live.
Yes.
And over time, that home is going to grow in value. Interest rates are going to fluctuate. You got to start building equity for yourself.
Yep. I agree, and I think it's important for buyers, potential buyers that are watching this, to start with the person that you trust. Typically that's going to be your realtor, and then your realtor is going to refer you to their lending partners. But make sure that you set that expectation up front with your realtor. And I mean, the good realtors, that's what you do. You ask. I mean, I heard you say it earlier today. What's your goal? Is your goal to keep this home for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, forever? Because if your goal's to keep a home for maybe less than 6 months and you're not sure after that, then Mike may tell you maybe you want to rent for 6 months or 2 months, or but that's where you need to start. You need to put your trust in a good realtor that is going to know the market conditions with the numbers. I mean, you always pull numbers up. I love it.
I'm a numbers person. So.
But you know what? It's amazing because the cost for what so Mike has to pay to get these numbers, everyone. But he knows that's part of, his job and the service and value that he provides to his clients. So I know you're going to know the numbers. So whenever you come into my office or we talk, I can ask you, how many homes sold last week? And you just like beg. Well, there's a lot of realtors out there. There's a reason that some of them say I'm top 1% or I'm top this percent. I highly advise you buyers, people that are interested in, buying a home here in the next 6-12 months or so, get with someone like Mike Holt that's going to give you the analytics and hone in and focus on really what you're looking to do, what area you want to buy in. Tell him what your goals are, because he's not going to mess around with everything else. He's going to hone in and really focus on what your goals are, and then talk about expectations with you. Yeah. And you really can't fail that way. It's more of it's a learning process versus failing or succeeding. And it's awesome to work with your buyers, because we know you've given them those expectations. So they follow instructions, and it's a true partnership. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and just kind of tell a quick story. I had a client that I closed with a few months ago, and I learned after the fact, because as I always kind of like try to go through and see if there's any feedback for me through the buying or selling process. And course of that, asking them those questions and the follow-up, they told me, like, you're the third realtor that I went with. The other two, I would tell them what I wanted, where I wanted to be, what my price range is, but they never actually helped me find those homes. They just kept sending me, there's
homes that weren't in that area.
They weren't in that area. They weren't in the price range they were looking at. Didn't have the features. And in my head, that just automatically says, like, you're not listening to your client. So my process is always going through finding out what your goals are, finding like what works for you, what's your goals long term, and making sure that we're working together, both with a lender as well, to make sure that we can find the right home for you and actually get you into the home that you actually want and can afford.
Yeah. And I mean, it sounds easy, everyone, but you have to look at it like your realtors. It's a financial transaction. It could be the biggest financial transaction of your life. So don't take it lightly. I mean, rarely does it happen, but when it does happen, when a buyer comes to me and doesn't have a realtor, I say, I'm happy to refer you to a realtor, but do yourself a favor and don't try to be a realtor. Don't try to, you know, I mean, put your trust in somebody and ask them questions, give them your expectations and your goals, and let them go to work for you. The great realtors, they're not gonna, put pressure on you. They're not gonna make you sign a whatever contract. They're going to earn your business, and you're going to feel that. You're going to feel the value right away, and more than anything, you should feel that trust. And if you don't feel that trust, then don't use them. I mean, that's that. So it's crazy that, I mean, it's awesome that you followed up with that and found out that it was you were the third person. But that just goes to show, I mean, we have way too many realtors in our market. We have way too many lenders in our market. And, you're around me enough to know that we get at least 1 or 2 deals every month, if not 3 or 4 or 5 that start with a call center lender and, a Quicken or a big bank or, whomever it might be. And they're just, sometimes they don't get phone calls for weeks. And, so then we end up getting them. And then it's like a realtor, hey, Dan, I need a favor. Can you close it in 10 days? And it's like, well, I can if I have to, but so I think as a buyer, you need to find someone that you trust and someone that's a professional and really, excels at relationships and wanting to help people. I mean, to me, I know you're going to treat people the way you want to be treated. That's how I was raised. That's what I try to do with my clients. And those are the realtors that I want to work with.
Yeah, and like I would say a lot of realtors out there won't say this, but I would say most people aren't going to tell you to interview multiple people. I'm like, granted, I think I'm the best realtor out there, hands down, but I still recommend maybe we won't vibe together, personality wise or whatever, but go out and interview multiple people. I highly recommend it to make sure someone is serving you correctly.
Yeah.
And if you don't go with me, that's fine. I'll work with people that I do vibe with and make sense, and I have that level of trust.
Yeah.
But I want to kind of jump back a little bit into the story of people going to other kind of big box lenders, and then they finally come over to you after my recommendations. Can you tell me a little bit more about so the person I sent over to you recently, they went to a big box lender.
Oh yeah.
And they basically gave them a pre-qual on essentially nothing. And if we would have went and offered on the house that they did using that lender, that deal probably would have fell through.
Yeah, there's no way they would have gotten it approved.
Because one, they needed seller concessions to close. Their income wasn't correct. And it was all just hopes and prayers, basically, to get the deal done.
Yeah. So that company is one of those, I don't know if iBuyer terms is the right term, but it's a company that, is selling a lot of homes online, and, they're have a big search engine on, you can Google them and pull them up. And so what they did, along the way is they decided to start their own lending. Unfortunately, realtors that haven't used their lenders don't know unless they dig into it and, really start trying to figure out, okay, how is this person told me they had $3,000 in their savings account. How are they going to go do a $9,000 down payment, right? It's just the math doesn't work. So as a buyer, that's, once you decide on your realtor, absolutely get a recommendation from your realtor. That's the person you're going to put your trust in, and they're going to guide you to a lender that you're going to trust. But, there really isn't such thing as a pre-qualification is something that you can walk into your bank. You can say, I'm looking to buy a home, and they go, oh, you have a checking account here. Poof, here's a pre-qualification. Most of the time, they haven't ran your credit. They haven't asked you for pay stubs to verify your income. They haven't verified your assets. That is not at all what you want to do, when you're ready to go shop for a home. I think leveraging is the best thing that you guys can do. It helps you negotiate, meaning if you have a pre-approved buyer that we have verified their income, ran their credit, verified their assets, given them numbers on what their payment would be at this price, and then we even go as far as calling their employers and verifying their employment, their income with their employment. That allows you, and my realtor friends have taught me this over the years. That allows you to go in and say, look, I got a buyer that's ready to go, and I know my lender can close in 2 weeks or less if needed. They've already verified their income assets. You can call my lender if you want, which we're happy to do. And that just gives you like a lot more leverage and power. And I think that makes your job a lot easier. And that's what I've learned from my realtor partners.
Yeah. Like I would say like those follow-up calls from you guys to the listing agent, like that can win you accepted offers, hands down. If you're going through some of the big box ones where it's just a call center, like they're not doing that follow-up call to help sell the buyer on how strongly qualified they are. So like that follow-up call and just like that smooth process, that trust in and out is going to win more deals and close more deals and more sales for home buyers. So
yeah, well, we just had one. Like we know the listing agent.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps us in some way, shape, or form. But I mean, I think that's my passion is to help you grow. Our goal is to be an extension of you. Excuse me. So whatever we can do to help you and your buyers, excuse me, that's what it's about.
Yep. Yeah. Is there anything else kind of you want to wrap up with? I think we dumped a lot of information into this video. But
choking on myself.
You're good. But anything else you want to kind of wrap up with? Any closing thoughts on the market or kind of like anything at all?
I'm choking, sorry.
Before you die?
I need a drink, yeah. No, I think the biggest thing is just get with a realtor that you trust. Put your trust in that realtor and, don't give up on that dream of home ownership. There's tools that we have that Mike can show you to get you into the home of your dreams, no matter what rates are. We can't control rates.
Yeah, we got to live in the world that we're in. We're going to do everything we can to help you guys achieve your real estate goals. So if you have any questions about the loan process, go with Dan. I'll have his information in the description. If you want to book a call with me, go to mackelmethod.com. I look forward to talking to you soon. But other than that, have a good weekend, guys.